Hi everybody, welcome back to Cooking Ain't Complicated. My name's Chef Saint. We got a real treat for you here today. We're making kind of a spin, a take if you will, on carbonara. Now there was this restaurant in Seattle, and I'm sure there were many other places, but in Seattle near where I live, that specialized in a brown butter and Mizithra cheese pasta. And every time I went there, that's what I got. It was fantastic, simple, easy to do. And unfortunately they went under. So what we're doing today steals from that theme just a little bit, and we're going to add some wonderful things like some blackened chicken and some nice peppered bacon. But the focus of this is Mizithra cheese. This is a sheep's cheese made in the Greek region, if you can tell by the way it's spelled. I had to look that up like 5 times, by the way, to make sure I was pronouncing it right. But Mizithra cheese, good stuff. It's kind of like a Parmesan, a little bit lighter, not as heavy on the fragrance or the flavor, but it's still really, really good. And to pair that with a nice brown butter, we've got some roasted garlic, pre-roasted. I enjoy that. And we got our blackening seasoning for our chicken thighs. Again, I like to use chicken thighs because they're juicier. They retain the moisture a little bit better than a chicken breast would. You don't have to pound it quite so hard. But we got a blackened seasoning that I made today. Basically just cayenne pepper, paprika, white pepper, black pepper, thyme, oregano, garlic powder, and onion powder. That's pretty much what's in it. So, but if, like I always say, if that's not your speed, if you're not ready to make your own spice rub, screw it. Go to the store, buy yourself a pre-made spice rub. They're just as good if you want to do that. So let's get started. All right, the first step in the process is we're going to cook off this lovely peppered bacon. Peppered bacon is what brings it into the carbonara realm of things instead of just being a blackened chicken pasta, for instance. Bacon really kind of ties the whole thing together. So what we're going to do is we're going to cook off 12 ounces of pepper bacon, but I'm not going to show you. It's boring. Nobody wants to watch that. Alright, for this step we're doing just a really simple blackened chicken. As I said, I made this rub myself this morning. But what you want to do, you want to take your chicken. You don't even have to moisten it. Just kind of lay it out. Sprinkle it down. Kind of want to do the one hand dry, one hand clean dish here. So you just kind of sprinkle it down like that. Pat it in. Your hands are not going to stay clean. Let's just say it that way. Sprinkle it on both sides. Press it in to get it into the cracks. And I'm using a George Foreman grill today. Again, you can use whatever methodology you choose. If you want to use a cast iron, if you want to use an actual barbecue grill, have at it, do what you do. For my particular use in this kitchen, which is rather small, I technically like to use the George Foreman as much as I possibly can. It produces good work, drains off all the fat. It's really, really handy to use. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our seasoned chicken. I'm going to lay it out on the grill here. Like I said, my grill takes about 4 pieces at a time, about this size. Like that. And that takes probably around 6 to 8 minutes. It cooks on both sides, so you don't need to worry about flipping it. It's good to go. Alright, let's get some chicken. Let's not have this fall off the counter, that would be bad. We see we got some nice, good color to our blackened chicken. That's all we want. This isn't going to be mixed into the pasta. This is going to be served on top. So appearance is key, as is flavor. So there we go. Now we'll move on to the next step. The next step is really simple. You take your pasta, you put it in the water. I pre-salt the water just a little bit. You can use a little olive oil if you want to keep your noodles from sticking, but I find that we're doing a brown butter pasta. Butter is nothing but oil. You're good to go. That's more like it. Now we're ready to go. Alright, so now what we're going to want to do before your cameraman and your editor eat all your bacon is you're going to want to cut it up to toss with the pasta. And they know they're guilty because they're standing back there with a big old grin on their face and bacon on their breath. I see you. I see you. You just need a rough cut. We're not looking for anything fancy. I prefer my bacon nice and crispy. Other people might want it a little bit chewier. I'm not here to tell you you're wrong, but crunchy. So you're about that size, that consistency, so you can toss with the pasta. Next step, chicken. Okay, the next step, we're just going to take our blackened chicken. If it wants to play nice. And we're going to do just grab the right knife. Just a nice bias cut, like that. And all this is going to do is this is going to lay down on top of the chicken, or on top of the pasta, and I don't want to say it's a garnish, but if you're going to garnish with meat, it's delicious. That's going to go on top of the pasta. Next step, we're going to add the garlic and the butter. The browning of the butter. Toss them in a sauté pan around medium high to high heat. I'm using high. Ain't nobody got time for none of that nonsense. And I toss it in with my roasted garlic. I don't ever measure my garlic. I know I'm here to tell you guys how to cook things. I'm here to help you learn. I don't ever measure my garlic. You could put that on my heritage, that's all I'm saying. But if there's too much garlic, there's not too much garlic. Toughen up. Garlic's delicious. All you want to do is you want to work that butter around in that garlic, get it nice and coated. And you want to keep a really close eye on this because at high temperatures, your butter can go from brown to scorched almost immediately. So, don't walk away, don't feed the cat, don't take a leak, don't answer your phone, no sending out friend requests, no commenting on Twitter. Watch the butter. Though if you were to go on my Instagram, I'd be okay with that. I'll give you that exception. But your idea is, because the pasta itself doesn't have any natural sauce to it, this pasta sauce is just brown butter and garlic. So what you want to make sure you do is work that garlic in there, because you want every bit of that butter to be tasting like garlic. And you just work it around. You see it's all nice and melted now. And you just keep working it around until you get a nice golden brown color to it. You don't want, like I said, it scorches almost immediately, so be very careful. I know I make a lot of jokes about it, but seriously, keep your eyes on the prize here. It's well worth it. Okay, and so if you're like me, you've already got your pasta drained. In this case, I went with linguine. A bit more surface area than your typical spaghetti. A lot more than your angel hair. I don't usually like angel hair for things like this. You get that put right back in the pan after you drain it. Turn this on. There we go. And now what we're going to do, we're going to take our bacon. Lovely, lovely bacon. Toss that in there, crumbs and all. Crumbs and all. And then we're going to take the brown butter and garlic. You see that? Nice. Super oily and delicious. And we're just going to pour that right in. And then what you do is you have a pasta fork. You just toss that around. You want to get that butter on every single one of the noodles. You want to mix that bacon around. You want to get that garlic floating. You want it all fully incorporated. Get back here. Never leave a garlic or a bacon behind. Bacon behind. And then take a little bit of your grated Mizithra cheese. Use a small grate, not the big one, so it doesn't melt like a typical cheese. And you just kind of toss a little bit in there. You want to save most of that for tossing on top, but you want to incorporate a little bit of that flavor into the pasta. So again, just toss it around. You're not going to see it melting like you would see a cheddar melt or a mozzarella or a jack. Those things melt. This stays pretty much the same consistency. Alright, next step, we eat. Alright, there you have it. All we did was we plated the pasta, threw a little bit of that Mizithra cheese right on top. You got your blackened chicken breast here, and we just threw a little bit of toasted sourdough on the side. I can't tell you how excited I am to eat this. Once again, I filmed all day without having eaten first, so as soon as that camera shuts off, this is going directly in my face. But, from my kitchen to yours, I hope you enjoy. Cooking ain't complicated. It's an art form you get to eat.